Well, I'm Dewey.
And I'm Terry.
And we would like you to join us as we lead you on a marriage adventure that reminds us all how to treat your spouse.
We will discuss ways to rekindle the fun and romance in your marriage while gaining some wisdom on what it takes to build a marriage that lasts. Welcome to our podcast, Treat Your Spouse.
So I mentioned this on the last episode, so I think I'm just going to review real quick. Again, Terry loves quality time, which is her love language. I think it would be an interesting episode if we talked about love languages maybe at some point.
Love that.
And I can determine what mine is. I think it's words of affirmation.
I think it is.
Maybe a little bit of touchy. Yeah. And yours are quality time.
I think acts of service.
Acts of service. So we'll go through the process at some point if you guys would like to see that and kind of dig into how we speak to each other through love language. Yeah. But regardless, so back to she loves quality time. We both love to read. We love to read, especially books that we know are going to become movies. So I Googled upcoming movies that are really good books, and the top pick was a book that we got. And we actually started off the date at Longhorns. So we got the Filet Flow. Is that what you called it a minute ago? You did. You said Filet
Maybe
Flow.
It's called Flow. Maybe it's Flow Filet.
No.
I was going to Google it.
Yeah, but it'll
maybe it's Flow. It's some kind of filet. It's a filet. It's steak.
But it's not filet mignon.
I think it is, but I think they call it that.
Okay.
Anyway, we some friends of ours, Brent and Christy Lee.
Yes, Brent and Christy Lee. Thank you, Brent and Christy Lee.
Suggested going there, and they when they get their steak, they get it butterflied. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it being butterflied, but it was so good. It was delicious.
It was fantastic. Great recommendation. Thank you for the recommendation. Here's a picture of Brent Lee. My goal is to put something funny up there about Brent, and a nice picture of Christy. But then a funny picture of Brent. Yeah. Okay, sorry. But thank you, Lise. And then after that, we booked it to Books A Million, pun intended, where we purchased The Woman in the Window, which is a novel that will be soon a major motion picture starring Amy.
Motion picture.
Is it a Netflix?
They switched it to Netflix.
That's still a major motion picture on Netflix, right? I don't know. But starring Amy Adams or Rachel Adams.
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams.
From Enchanted.
From
The
Enchanted.
Office. She was in The Office for a while.
Oh, she was.
She
She sold the
Office.
purses.
She is Lois Lane.
She is Lois Lane. Not my favorite Lois Lane.
No, not even a good Lois Lane.
But
really.
she's okay.
Who's your favorite Lois Lane?
It's got to be Lois Lane.
But who is it? Who is your favorite Lois Lane?
Han Solo's girlfriend.
What?
Is it the same girl that plays Indiana Jones' love interest?
Oh, it is. Yes, it is.
Lois Lane.
But that would be Indiana Jones, not
I know,
Han
I was
Solo.
being funny.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're kind of the same character, though.
Yeah, I can't believe I can't.
My favorite Lois Lane is the Lois Lane from
Smallville.
Smallville. She does great.
She did good.
She did great.
She just, I don't know. We won't get into all that. But all that to say, we went to Books A Million.
We went to Books A Million.
We got Woman in the Window, a movie that's going to be, or a book that's going to be a movie, so that we could read it together. And
I went to Bath and Body Works.
She did for a very long time.
Not really, but they had 75% off. I love the essential oil line of Bath and Body Works.
Yes, she does.
And they had 75% off some of those.
Okay, so we hung out there for a little while. Then I took her to Walgreens, where I treated her to her favorite beverage, candy, and snack. I said, pick whatever you want.
The world is yours.
Yes,
Okay.
and she got some water.
I got a new kind of water. You'll learn that I don't like to drink my calories.
I love to drink my calories.
I like to eat. It's my favorite.
That's her second love
It's
language.
my second love language, food.
Yes. And then we took it from there. We loaded my backpack with the snacks, had a little cooler section, put some hammocks in there, and we booked it to Red Clay State Park, which is not too far away from where we live.
Which was nice.
It was nice. And we took a small hike and we found a nice spot right next to the creek where we're in the shade. We can hear the babbling brook over the water, the water running over the rocks, just making a nice peaceful sound. There was hardly anybody around. We hooked up our hammocks to the trees. I went across the creek. Terry went beside the creek. Here's a picture. So that we wasn't blocking anybody's path.
So you thought.
So we thought, and we hooked it up, and we enjoyed 2 or 3 hours of relaxation
reading and
reading and snacking and talking. We
would stop some and say, "Oh my gosh, what do you think about that?" And
I'd be like, what do you think this girl's doing here? I bet you this is the bad person, blah, blah, blah. But it was fun until we got ratted out by the do-gooders.
Yes, you got ratted out because I was doing Dewey was across the creek, and so these people were walking up the creek.
Who walks up a creek? There's a path right beside it, but this family of people
and they had little kids
comes walking up a sacred creek, and I guess they got mad. They turned around and they turned us into the park ranger.
Dewey knows all about the sacred creek. He'll tell you about that in a minute.
Yeah, so... Yes. So they turned us into the park ranger. Park ranger come up to us and said, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm gonna. And he was
extremely nice.
He was extremely nice, but he made us leave. He kicked us out of the park. Apparently it's illegal to hang up hammocks in Red Clay State Historic Park.
But I can see it, but we just wrapped the stuff around. We didn't drill holes or anything.
No. There's these little straps you wrap around the tree. It just pulls. It doesn't hurt anything. It wasn't hurting nature, but can't do it. So they ratted us out. We said, okay, we packed up our goods and we left. And that is not the first time I've been kicked out of the park.
There should be a picture of you really by now.
Yes,
not allowing you in.
In my defense, the last time I was kicked out, though, was not by the park rangers. It was
by the Cherokee Indians.
It was by the Cherokee Indians. So, turns out that Red Clay State Park was actually the last site of the national Cherokee government. Did you know that, honey?
I might have known that.
It was the very last site until we decided to take...
The council house is still there.
The council house is still there where they met, and we forced them to sign the treaty.
You forced them.
To leave town. Yeah, to get the heck out of Dodge. And it was actually have you ever heard of the Trail of Tears?
Yes,
I think most people have if they've been through school. Well, that is the starting place of the Trail of Tears. It started right there at that council house. We kicked them out, and they went tearing down the trail. It was a serious thing, and it was a sad part of our history. But that all relates to what happened the first time I was kind of run off from Red Clay, and that was at the beginning of the trail, there's this blue hole, and it's literally it's just a spring that water comes out of the ground from, but it's beautiful. It's very dark blue, and it looks like it goes down forever. So I thought I'd like to get a good picture of this and get a little bit closer. So they do have these do not cross signs up on there. But I decided to cross it. I crossed over.
I wasn't with him in this time.
Yeah, she was.
I was on a retreat.
I think Haley was the only one with me. But so I crossed over the fence.
And also, it's not just a blue hole to them. It is the entrance into the afterworld. The Cherokee people believe that is the way into the afterlife.
Some say that Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it is something sacred.
Yes.
Because I was back there. I was trying to take a picture, and all of a sudden, I heard this wailing, screaming sound, and I stood up and I looked, and there is a Native American in full garb running at me full force, sticks and hatchet in hand, scared me to death. I'm talking Daniel Day-Lewis, Last of the Mohicans, running.
That to me seems right up your alley. Like that's something that you would live for.
It was pretty epic to see, but in the moment, my heart was beating. I thought I was
going to be
killed. Yes. So I quickly jumped the fence and I ran away. And then when I looked back and realized he wasn't chasing me, I stopped to see what was
He
going
went back
on.
and got Haley. He was like, Haley, come on.
She was with my mom. So I look, and all of a sudden I try to find out what happened. Why was he running at me? Maybe he wasn't actually running at me, but turns out he was. And I looked, and he was standing in the exact place that I was, and I saw him digging a little hole in the ground. And then I saw him put something in it. He put the dirt over it, reached in his satchel, pulled a little stick thing out, put it in top of the dirt, and lit it on fire, and then started a chant, war cry type Native American sounds.
I felt like it was the food was fantastic.
Check.
The snacking was fantastic.
Check.
The book has been pretty good.
Yeah, we're about halfway through it.
Halfway through it.
A little more than halfway through it.
I was halfway through another book when I started this book, so it's hard to. I think the date that I planned for myself, and then it got, kind of stolen by you,
Hijacked.
was
I didn't hijack your date.
fantastic.
Yeah, our date was awesome. Pound it. Yeah,
It was nice.
poundable. Yeah. So, awesome. So nothing I could have done better?
No.
Really?
No, I mean, you could have made sure that, like, had we went to Chehaui, which is where I was going to go, we would have been able to stay, I guess, because you can hang hammocks there.
Well, the park ranger's not going to come that far. We wasn't that far out, so it was
We weren't.
doable for the park ranger. But we went off the trail of the beaten path a little bit,
Right.
which made it a lot quieter and more relaxing. But I guess
Now, there was a couple that came by and said, man, that's a great idea. We're doing that next time. So if all of a sudden people start ruining the trees at Red Clay Park,
my bad.
just remember it started with Dewey.
Yep. Weekly wisdom. So I was thinking about what I learned from this date, and at one point I thought maybe I should make sure that whatever we're doing is legal. Maybe not. At one point I thought maybe I should just steer clear of Red Clay, period, because do you remember that time? Another time we went to Red Clay, those incidents happened, but we took our kids, and I remember Ethan saying snake, and I was like, no, it's not. And we stepped on a copperhead. I was holding my daughter's hand, and we literally stepped on a poisonous snake. So we don't have the best of luck, or maybe I don't. We do, but I don't. I tend to get into a lot of weird situations, But anyway, here's what I ended up on. Here's what it is. Sometimes it takes great risks to reap great rewards. The rewards from my visit to Red Clay have been in the form of awesome little stories to tell. So I would encourage you guys, don't be afraid to step out and do something a little bit edgy, as long as you're not hurting anyone or breaking the law. It might give you a great story to tell your grandkids one day. And in the same way, if you find that your marriage is becoming a little stale, a little stagnant, don't be afraid to take a risk and do something special for your spouse, even if you think you might get rejected or laughed at or maybe even thrown out of the park.
I love it. And our weekly challenge for this week is to do something that you wouldn't normally do with your spouse. Take a risk. Go somewhere that you might not normally go and do something fun together. And let us know what it is. Comment.
If you want more ideas or just want to commit with other couples on the same journey as us, striving to be a better husband, wife, father, mother, then join our Facebook group, Treat Your Spouse. Shouldn't get that close to the mic.
And follow us on Instagram and shoot us a DM.
If you want to strengthen your marriage,
stop treating yourself
and treat your spouse. Yo spouse.
Yo spouse. Yo spouse.